Hello, I'm Rachel Wichak-Sono.
And I'm Chris Hall.
And Chris and I and our colleague Patrick Smith are the authors of Mapping Applied Linguistics, and we're going to chat about the book today. And I'm going to start by asking Chris a question. Chris, can you tell us a little bit, first of all, about yourself, and then say where you were and what you were doing when you first thought of Mapping Applied Linguistics?
Okay. Well, I was in Mexico with Patrick, who is now at the University of Texas at El Paso. That's why he's not with us today. We're here in York in the UK. And Patrick and I were colleagues at the University of the Americas in Cholula in Mexico. And the idea came really from conversations with Patrick and the teaching we were doing there, where we'd reshaped the MA program that we had there in second language teaching, English and Spanish as second languages, and broadened it to be more of an applied linguistics program.
Right.
And it worked. Patrick, his background was very much sociocultural theory, language, reading and culture, I think was his PhD. Worked a lot in literacy and bilingual education. My background, very, very different, in originally theoretical linguistics and psycholinguistics, but we came together with other colleagues as well, who were doing areas of applied linguistics as broad as Mexican Sign Language, so sign language education, the maintenance of indigenous languages, literacy, bilingual education, English language teaching, of course, and other areas. And even though we had such different backgrounds, we understood each other, and we were able to contribute, I think, to each other's development and to our students' development.
Right.
And that's where the book, I think, really came from, that realization that such differences could enrich student experiences.
Right, and exploring those sort of connections between your different fields and learning from each other. So, what about the title, Mapping Applied Linguistics? Where did the idea of mapping come from?
That was Patrick, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
There's a nice. We've got a nice map on the front of the cover here, and I think there's one quote that particularly nicely summarizes the idea. It's not in the introduction; it's in the preface. From Casas Cortez and Covarrubios, 2008. To make maps is to organize oneself, to generate new connections, and to be able to transform the material and immaterial conditions in which we are immersed. It isn't the territory, but it definitely produces territory.
That's really nice, isn't it? Yeah. So there's something there about a new way of organising the discipline of applied linguistics, and that's what we were interested in, the scope of the discipline and the relationship between applied linguistics and linguistics.
That's right.
And other fields of practice, making connections, but also in a way by working with each other and from our various different fields and with the students that we've taught, kind of producing a new map.
That's right.
Of our territory. For ourselves, but also as a guide for future practitioners and students.
That's right. But always recognising that the map is never finished,
right.
and also that the borders that we think are there are often not. Right. That was one of the main ideas that we had, was that applied linguistics is about crossing borders in so many senses.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that tied in with a lot of our ideas too, didn't it, about varieties of language and how artificial borders to languages, political and economic borders, can be used against sometimes the populations
That's right.
of the people within those borders.
That's right, and as we call them, clients of applied linguistics, including obviously many students of English,
yes,
who are not necessarily needing a native speaker model, but that's what's being delivered. So that was one of the major issues that informed a lot of what we did and what we're
still
working
doing.
on as researchers.
That's true. Yes. Yeah. So in that case, that idea that English is somehow can be corralled within a national border of England as if it belongs there, and any English that appears beyond those borders is somehow artificial or wrong or in need of correction.
Yeah. And of course, the other borders that were particularly significant for us to break through were between the different disciplines. No? So in the 3 sections of the book, we cover a lot of ground, right? And in the 3rd section, section C, we go beyond the traditional borders of applied linguistics as it's been narrowly conceived, I think, in the past, and look at language pathology, forensic linguistics, translation, and lexicography, which are not normally seen as within the territory by many people anyway, many practitioners and theorists.
Yes. One of the point that maybe we can make it now is that an interesting part of writing the book was that Chris and I were here in York and Patrick was in Texas, so we were, on different ends of the map, as it were, and we had to find ways of working together, didn't we?
That's
developing these ideas, writing collaboratively, etc. So we got very interested in the use of technology, didn't we, to surmount those problems, and used various different technologies to work on the text.
And realised at the same time that was a way in which increasingly practitioners and students are being empowered to really become active members of a community of applied linguists. No? And that was one of the one of the major kind of principles that emerged out of the writing of the book. No, because we did come up with a set of principles, almost like not a new philosophy, but certainly our own first realization that there was a shared philosophy between the 3 of us. And one part of that was definitely trying to contribute to a more bottom-up, participatory kind of applied linguistics, which included all the players.
Yes, and so we've developed together with the book, we've developed a companion website, haven't we, to go with the book, and we're hoping to use this technology that we've been exploring in the writing of the book and in our teaching as well, to create a kind of community in which practitioners from all of these different fields that you've mentioned, the speech and language therapists, the language teachers, the literacy teachers, the lexicographers, the translators, etc., will be able to participate. They'll be able to add their experience, perhaps tell us about things that have happened to them in their workplaces, problems that they've had, and maybe get solutions or suggestions from other areas of applied linguistics which maybe they wouldn't have had chance to have contact with in the past.
That's right.
And to build up this idea of applied linguistics from the bottom up, this sort of shared community.
And we got examples of that in a sense, haven't we, in the final chapter where we introduced 5 practitioners from all the way around the map of the earth, and each one is featured on the website as well. So there are some videos and some audio. No, I think we have transcriptions of some. Yeah, there are videos and transcriptions of some interviews. That's right. So those would be good models, I suppose, for people if they wanted to. To upload their own experiences.
Definitely.
And each one of those practitioners does more than one kind of applied linguistics, right?
That's
each
true.
one is a translator and a teacher, or we have a language pathologist who also did English language teaching as well, and a literacy teacher who's also a translator, etc.
And from different parts of the world as well, talking about their different practice contexts. So we hope that readers of the book will get involved in the website, don't we? And there'll be a new way of creating the discipline from the bottom up.